Hi, my name is Li Hui. I'm an artist. I'm also a theorist. Art is my tool to understand reality and make a model of it. Counter-reality is my art studio. It's an imaginary reality I built to gain a deeper insight of this reality so that I can bring the meanings and insights to the world. More than that, I'm an onion. Onion. I'm an onion with 3 layers. On the very outside layer is orange. Because I always appear to be very happy, I figured that if I want people to be happy, I have to be happy. And the middle layer is the purple layer. I'm very intuitive and spiritual. That's how I make my decision. I don't think at all, I just do it. And very inside layer is red. Red means love and passion. Love and passion is what drives me to do all of the artworks and create counter-reality. Scientists, they use imagination to come up with scientific truth. Einstein, while he was only 16 years old, he had his first thought experiment that he imagined his writing on the beam of light. And that led to his discovery of the special relativity. And he wrote this quote: "Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand." And philosopher and poet, they have a little bit different understanding of imagination. Ralph Waldo Emerson, he's a transcendental philosopher in America. He said, "Imagination is a very high sort of seeing, which does not come by study, but by the intellect being where and what it sees, by sharing the path or circuits of things through forms, and so making them translucent to others." What he means is that imagination helps us to see things better, to see things beyond its appearance, and this also allows us to communicate abstract concepts. And I have a slightly different definition of philosophers and scientists. It's somewhere in between. For me, imagination helps me understand myself, understand the world, and more than seeing the world, it also my method to create reality. It is a way for me to connect with things bigger than myself. It allows me to see my better self, to connect with my potentiality, so that I can create a reality that I want to create for myself. How does imagination relate to reality? I want to use an example of numbers. Numbers is imaginary. We cannot see numbers anywhere. If I give you an apple, you know I give you 1 apple, but there is no number 1 on it. If I give you another one, you will count for it. 1 plus 1 equals to 2. But again, there's numbers that aren't there. And Pythagoras believes that all the numbers has meanings, and the numbers is the architecture of reality. For example, number 1 means singularity, number 2 means opinions, and 3 means wholeness. And those meanings can be built down. And that's how he thinks number can construct this reality. And for artists, for example me, I use paintings as my language to create and to find meaning of the world and to construct reality. And I made this little book. It's called "Imagination is How We Know the World" with a philosophy professor at University of Berkeley. His name is John Campbell. He is specialized in philosophy of mind. And this book is talking about the scientists. They can help us understand the particles and the atoms. But if we want to understand humans, we need imagination. We don't know what other people are thinking about, and we have to imagine what they do, what is the meaning that they are doing. If your partner is mad at you, you might not know why, and you need your imagination. This is a picture of us that we make these books together. You can also come and check those books out later. Where does imagination occur? I'm going to use the Victorian brain model to explain, because this model was first invented in 1960s by a neuroscientist called Paul MacLean, and it's become really popular recently because it's very intuitive and it's instructive. So this brain has three parts. We have the reptilian brain, mammalian brain, and the primate brain, or the human brain. The reptilian brain help us to understand our position in the space. That's how we know where we are in the physical place. And the mammalian brain helps us is where our imagination is where our emotion mostly occurs, and that's how we connect with other people in the society. And the primate brain separates humans from most of other animals. That is our thinking brain. And our imagination happens in the thinking brain, so as prediction and all kinds of thinking. But what are the difference between prediction and imagination? I will explain in the next slide. And I made this diagram that I want to make, besides that I want to make a difference between prediction and imagination, I also want to make a difference between imagination and fantasy. What is prediction? If you are a scientist, you use the scientific experiment to participate the future. For example, if you want to anticipate if you throw a ball and you want to know where the ball will land and what the speed it will land, you will measure the where is the ball when you throw it, or the speed of the ball. And that's how you make the prediction. And imagination is different. It allows you to be at the present moment. And if you ask an artist, what are you thinking about when you make art? They will tell you, I'm outside of the physical place. I am disconnected with the time and space. And that is imagination. We don't attach to the past experience. What is fantasy? Fantasy is like the illusional experience. Maybe when you are in the drug state and you are fully detached from this reality and disconnected with this world. I couldn't explain better than Ralph Waldo Emerson. Ralph Waldo Emerson, he said, "Imagination respects the cause. It is a vision of an inspired soul, reaching argument and affirmations in all nature of that which it is driven to say. But as soon as the soul is released a little from its passion, and at leisure plays with the resemblances and types, for amusement and not for its moral end, we call its action fancy." When he says that, he said, the imagination, it creates the insights from its cause, and it brings the meaning to our life in the material world, in this reality. And that's why imagination matters. It creates meanings. And imagination is my logo, pink elephant. Why is it a pink elephant? There is a psychological experiment. When I tell you that don't think about the pink elephant, what will you think about? Yes, no matter how hard you try, the pink elephant will always come back to your mind. Even if you think that, am I thinking about pink elephant? You are still thinking about it. That's why I use this logo. And imagination is a mean between prediction and fantasy. It is also not right in the middle. The mean is the golden mean. The golden mean is changing, depends on different situations. Sometimes it is closer to prediction. Sometimes it's closer than fantasy. Just like Aristotle said, virtue is a mean between two extremes. And the imagination is a mean between prediction and fantasy. And I'm going to explain about a few functions about imagination. Imagination can encourage us. While I'm doing push-ups, I would imagine a panda. He's eating heart. And if I imagine like this, it can help me to do more push-ups. Imagination creates meanings. This image is one of my most important paintings. It's called Pink Elephant because this is the painting that helps me create my own identity and the identity of counter-reality brand. This is an elephant. He is standing on this tree, on the cloud, and is ascending, going up. And the fish are around him. Looks very excited. And think the elephant is very kind and loving, and it always wants to protect other animals. After I paint this painting, I discovered the parts of myself that is very caring, and I want to make people around me happy and to feel supported. That's why I drew this painting. And this painting gives me additional meaning to my identity, and it helps me create a better of me. And then I created a community around Pink Elephant. Also host a lot of events, including philosophy discussion events. We will discuss what is beauty, what is truth and truthfulness, how to live an authentic life, very diverse philosophical questions. And also we have Create Day, where we will use different media to create things. For example, to learn how to make an improv story, or to make a poetry, or to learn a new instrument. We also have artist collaboration events so that artists can share their perspectives and inspire each other. And community is a very good way of improving, especially if this community is open to outside world and people are sharing similar values. And I find that this community is important for me and is part of who I am. Imagination also creates ambiguity. In this painting, while I was painting it, the image appears in my mind as an human and an animal was fighting with each other. But after I finish this one, and I see this painting, I feel like they look like they are hugging each other. And this kind of ambiguity can create more thoughts and discussion. And one image can inspire people to make different stories. For example, this one is a flying duck is carrying a mice in his mouth. Majority of people, when they see this painting, they would say the duck is eating the mice. But if you look this painting closely, you will see that the mice looks very, very happy, and he seems like enjoying himself. So when I sent this picture to my mom said the mice is so lucky, and the bird is carrying it to take a tour in the sky. And the bird has a wing, but the mice doesn't have a wing. Another friend of mine, he said, this is a bird, he is helping the mice escaping from the city. And those, I thought they are crops, and he thinks that is a city. And from the stories that people tell, is a lot of times it's also about them. I'm creating the meaning for myself, and also help people discover themselves by the interaction with the paintings. This painting is called Myth of Sisyphus. How many people have heard of Myth of Sisyphus? A lot of you. The Sisyphus was a Greek god. He was punished to push the stone on top of the mountain. However, whenever he almost reached the top, the stone will reappear at the bottom. So he has to push the stone again. And this task is going on forever. And Camus uses this story to explain the absurdity of life, that life has no meaning. But he thinks that because that we have to do the task again and again, and we can never reach the goal, we can make up different meanings for each time when we do our task. And that's how we find the happiness in our lives. And I think, I don't know if life has meaning or not, but it's artist's job to help us find the meanings and create our meanings, so life will be more colorful and meaningful. I also draw portraits of people. I put people in imaginary scenes, and often I will draw them some spirit animals. These two, they're a couple, they're sitting on a bench and before a tree with red fruit. And this guy on the right, he has the snake with a little crown. And he told me that his favorite book is The Little Prince. So I add a crown on the snake. And in reality, they are sitting on my couch. And sometimes I would use the image from the real image to compare with the image I draw and see the similarity between those two. And I find this drawing looks like cockatoo. And I also have frog friends. All of my friends become animals. And so I use my imagination to create characters with people, but I also want other people to be more imaginative and create their own character. So what I do is that when people come to my event, I ask people to come up with their counter name. And what is counter name? Wait. The counter name is the name that is more real. It's an imaginary name, but it represents the part of you that is more real than your legal name. And so my friends all pick their counter name, and those counter names help them create their character. Okay, next slide. And then I also drew a picture with duck head, tree rocket, and blue sky. And I believe everybody has a power to imagine and create. So I invite people to come to my studio and make drawings together and to see the world in a different way by imagining. And I hope after today's talk, you will have a different perspective to see this world, that there might be other ways to see the world. And if you have any artist friend, you should take more care of them and listen to what they have to say. Because artists can always see things that you cannot see. And sometimes they won't tell you because they just don't think you can understand. But you have to be patient with them. Wait for a second. And I'm going to do an exercise so that you can experience how to use imagination to create reality. And I'm going to pass around this material. I hope these are enough.
You may have to share.
And I have colored pencil. Everybody can choose a different color. While you are sending the paper, I will talk about the rule of this exercise. I have 3 rules for this exercise. First is not thinking. Because when you are thinking, you cannot help to think about the past. You cannot help thinking about who I was. But this exercise, I want you to be fully at the present and just thinking about right now and what you think at this moment. The second rule is to be authentic. Authentic means that it's something that you really want to, you really think. It's not your friends or your family or some important people in your life, they told you. It has to be something that you think about. The third one is non-judgmental. When you put down anything on this paper, don't hesitate, because once you might have things that you are not willing to see, you don't want other people to see, and that is a part you call the shadow, what Carl Jung said, shadow part. But those parts are very important in the self-integration process, because a large part of our passion is in the shadow part of us. So I want you to be very honest and to just write down anything in your mind automatically. It can be scary at first, but you don't need to share this with anybody else, and I think you will be safe. This exercise will have 3 sections. The first section is what questions are you asking me in life? I will give you 5 minutes to think about, to write down 6 to 10 questions that you are asking in your life, and the questions that you always ask, and even if you don't want to ask, they will always come back to you. What do you feel? Is there anyone wants to share what you have there, and what does this process make you feel?